Hi all, welcome back to another video of my hard landscape design series. In this video we're going to talk all things porcelain. So firstly, what is porcelain? Porcelain is a man-made product. It is made up of clays, sands and minerals, and it is baked to a very high temperature, and it's essentially a printed tile. Being a printed tile and being a man-made product and therefore baked to such a high temperature, this means it is the only product in this whole series that is non-porous. So that means it is not pulling water in, and therefore, unlike concrete or natural stone, it'll be completely non-absorbent. There is a misconception that porcelain is stain resistant, and I would just like to point out that yes, okay, it might be stain resistant, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't get dirty. You still will have to clean porcelain from time to time because dirt will settle on the surface. As I've mentioned, it's a man-made tile and therefore it can be printed in loads of colours, and therefore you're probably guaranteed that you're going to find something that will match your property. Personally, in my opinion, I feel porcelain is very aimed at more contemporary homes at the minute, and if this is an extension or a renovation or a listed property, you might not find a good porcelain alternative for you. That's my personal opinion. There might be one out there. As I've said, they come in a wide range of colours. I have two samples here in front of me. These come in a 900-600 profile by 20mm. They come to 600-600 profile by 20mm. So that means you get a square or a rectangle. Now those are two quite common paver sizes within the porcelain realm. I have seen porcelain before up to 1000 by 20mm profile, and that just means it's a very large square tile. What I would say, and you do need to check this out when you are buying porcelain from your supplier, is the slip skid resistance rating. So basically you cannot use interior porcelain in an exterior environment. So if you are looking to do maybe like a very contemporary kitchen or a blindfold door where you're taking the interior exterior and you're wanting the same colour to run the whole way out, just make sure the product you're buying isn't an interior only porcelain. Therefore, what you might find is it becomes very slippy outside. Generally speaking, all hard landscape products that we're going to talk about in this series comes with a British Standard rating. British Standard is the rating of slip skid resistance within paving. To my knowledge, anything under 20 on a slip skid rater is for interior use only. Anything over 25 can be used exterior, and porcelain generally falls between 20 to 30. I don't know if there's any higher grades of non-slip within porcelain. There possibly is. Again, I haven't just delved too heavily into this. So how much does porcelain cost? In date of recording of this video, I have approximately worked out that porcelain is around £35 per square metre plus VAT. Now, you might get porcelain cheaper than that, and you might get more expensive porcelain, but that is a rough average that I have got. Now, that is only the cost of the material to buy. That does not include your layers fee, and that does not include any sub-base materials that may be required. Porcelain, unlike sort of like natural stone or concrete flags or clay pavers that I'm going to talk about in this series, will not be bedded on sand, and therefore you might find that sub-base requirements for porcelain will be more expensive than other products that we talk about in this series. Like everything I'm going to talk about in this series, it is really worth getting your batch codes and your measurements correct. So therefore I would recommend that you get an approved paving contractor or somebody that's very good at paving contracting to measure up for you if you're not confident in measuring yourself. And basically what I mean, this could be a stereotypical example that could happen. You could measure for 30 square metres of a patio and you might be very happy, and your paving contractor comes and they go to lay, and whilst on the job you then decide that you want to maybe extend your patio to 45 or 50 square metres. You go back to the retailer where you've bought your porcelain from and realise that that batch code is no longer in circulation, and the new batch, even though it might be the same colour, could vary very differently to the batch that you have already pre-purchased and are laying currently at the minute. Now this catches a lot of people out, and it's like paint or wool or wallpaper, so you do need to be very cautious of that. So what I would say, allow yourself 5 or 10% more, and this will cover you for breakages on site, or if, I don't know, perhaps you want to do just slightly more on the day that you maybe haven't calculated for. It's always better to be looking at it as for it. How do I rate porcelain as a product? Personally, I don't know if it's a favourable one for me. As I've said, I do find it lends itself more to a more contemporary build. That is my personal opinion. For the style of gardening that I do, I just feel, again, it's quite contemporary, but you know, again, that doesn't mean it doesn't suit all houses. What I would say, however, because it does come in that 20mm profile, which is quite thin, what you will find with porcelain is, and this generally will come down to your doorsteps or if you have a raised patio, some people like a tile to run off the edge as a cantilever and then it will bullnose round. You generally can't do that with porcelain. You can do it with natural stone, you can do it with some concrete products, but I say because porcelain is a tile, it doesn't give you that luxury of a bullnosed edge. but therefore that is just a small design qualm. Also as well, if you are mixing it with other materials, so say for example you want to do your patio in porcelain and say you want a clay paver then maybe as a pathway, what you will find is natural stone and clay and concrete will sort of naturalise into its environment and age well in. Your porcelain will always look new all of the time. Some people really like that, but what I would say is if you're looking something that over time that will blend in with your property, remember, everything ages, but porcelain is like Botox. It might not age with your environment, so you might find everything else ages around it, but it still looks quite stark and new. So sometimes that can be a bit jaunting for some people. But anyway, I hope that explains everything you need to know about porcelain paving. If you have any questions, please drop me a message below. I will answer it as best I can. I am not a paving contractor, so don't hold me to complete accountability for everything mentioned in this video, but that should give you a basic of understanding of how porcelain works. Thank you for watching.